Saad, I'm definitely open to a chat. Happy to take a look at Zan or Zan, and hear more about this. Surely this is quite the email. Part of me wants to say this is automated, but I'd surely take the bait. What's the next step, Scott? So let's begin matching. Loading supply and demand. Let's see how many matches do we actually get. Let's see. So we got 765 that are exploratory. All right, so I know you guys are in different spots. Some of you are running campaigns right now, booking meetings for yourself, or maybe your clients. Some of you are just getting started. Some of you are just watching to see how this works. Maybe you were like an automation freelancer or something. Doesn't really matter where you're at because this applies to everyone. And here's why. Yesterday, someone paid me $20K to connect you to a company that needs exactly what you do. And let me explain. I connected a lead gen agency that books meetings to a startup that needs meetings. And if you think about it, it's kind of wild, right? Because you're a connector, you book intros, you connect people, and there's someone else who's getting paid $20K just to connect you to the companies that need you. As the meta layer, as recursion. Straight out of like a Black Mirror episode. You guys know that Netflix show where each episode is like a weird trippy story? That's what it feels like. But yeah, I'm going to do it again today, live using Connector OS from start to finish. So let's just do it. So I'm going to pick companies in VR, AR, spatial computing, basically immersive tech companies that raised funding in the past 24 months and have like 1 to 200 employees. And the reason why is because this market is exploding right now. I believe the global VR market was like 60 billion in 2022 and it forecast to grow to 435 billion in 2030, meaning the companies in this space are building massive future businesses and trying to scale today. And what's happening now is that it's not just, gamers buying VR anymore. It's big companies like enterprise, which means these VR startups are now doing, B2B sales with long sales cycles, which means they need pipeline, which means they need meetings, which means they need lead gen. That's the match. So that's how you reverse engineer basically like a great match within a market. Okay. So it's going to be a good learning experience for you guys. Okay. So like I said, I'm just going to connect them with lead gen agencies, basically any, agency that books meetings, whether it's like email marketing, they do like LinkedIn outreach, ads, paid ads, whatever. Okay. So before this video, I built a list on Crunchbase and let me just walk you through it. Okay. So, by the way, you can use the AI search builder. It's actually really good. I tried it multiple times. It's actually pretty good, right? But, what I recommend, this is for people that are, running campaigns, etc. Do not trust, like these platforms like Crunchbase, Apollo, etc. Whatever you scrape leads, you kind of like need to run them through like a filter using AI. For example, I would say, hey, you are a B2B analyst, etc. Here's the exact ICP that I want, okay? And your job is just to output whether it's like true or false, okay? You're gonna notice that, let's say, you scrape like 1,000 leads. You're going to end up with like maybe 300 or 400 because it's just bullshit, right? Like these, platforms like Apollo, they sort of like just give you they cast a wide net. So, human judgment comes after it, right? This is how you print money as a connector, right? So you always need to do like a little bit of like filtering after it, right? That way, you just don't waste time. There's no headaches and you actually get paid, right? So I'm going to walk you through these filters right here. I went to overview. I have augmented reality, virtual reality, VR, 3D technology. This is basically just like a company keywords, all right? I did not choose the industry yet. I'm just, relying on keywords. I think keywords are way better than, industries, etc. And number of employees is 1 to 250, okay? And then I went to financials and I went to custom date range. Okay, I did from 1/1/2023 to 1/1/2026, okay? And then last one, and I picked seed, series A, B, C, D, and grant. Do not go for pre-seed because pre-seed just means they're still crying for money for investors. That's like the best way to explain it, to be fair. But yeah, seed, and then series A, B, C, and D, and grant. Okay. And then that's pretty much it. All you got to do. I have like 769. So let's just, take a look at this. Rendeavor. Prediction and insights, etc. So $6 million in fundings. Let's actually look at this. Okay, so immersive technology, a longer, healthier, more connected life. So these people, they just raised funding. Probably need some meetings, right? Like intros, etc. So instead of me delivering intros, why don't I just connect them to someone who can deliver intros, right? recursion. It's like the meta layer. They're like the infinite, meta layer. It was like multiple billions of like mirrors, right? That's quantum consciousness for you guys, right? So anyways, this is a good match. I'm just gonna go here and I'm simply just gonna, scrape it using Amplify, right? So I'm just gonna build one, right? Just gonna go to Amplify and you just want to type in Crunchbase, right? Simple, very, very simple. It's gonna take up like 15 minutes, right? So ultimate Crunchbase scraper. I'm gonna try for free, and then we're simply just gonna copy this. By the way, something super, super, super important. Since you guys are gonna be using Connector OS, there's something crucial that you need to do before you even plug it, okay? Because I'll show you how we can, match everything at the end. But you see this, a lot of people when they scrape Crunchbase, they forgot that there's a bunch of things you can add here, right? So you can see the top 5 investors, total funding amount, last equity, last funding status, founders. So all of these, you can add them, right? You have to add them. You should add them. So you go to edit table view and you can essentially just add what you want, because when you're going to plug this, this URL to your scraper, it's literally just going to scrape what you have here. So if you don't give it from the, from the top of funnel, like the data that you want, it's not going to scrape it, obviously. So make sure to add these, okay? Whether you are using, the companies, because there's companies, and Connector OS accepts Crunchbase, whether it's like, companies, or if you go to advanced search, it's like, people, okay? So if you want to look for like investors, etc. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to, paste this here, right? And then here's what I'm going to do. I need like a cookie, because the scraper needs your cookie, which is like a session cookie. It's basically like your ID that you scan, and essentially like a scraper just uses it to log in on behalf of your Crunchbase account. Okay, you do not need to nerd out about it. Just, download like an extension. It's called Edit This Cookie. Let me just, give you like a little look. Edit this cookie. Okay. And it has like this, this graph, or like this emoji of like cookie as a chocolate chip cookie. By the way, chocolate chip cookies are the best, and no one can tell me otherwise. I don't like when people like eat these raisins like cookies. I'm sorry, but if a cookie doesn't have chocolate chips, it's not considered a cookie, and just a fact, right? Anyways, so I'm gonna go to run options, no timeout. So since I have like 769, I can like copy this and just put it here, right? In terms of like maximum charge results, or I can just, no maximum limits, which is what I want. I'm going to click on save and start, and I'm simply just going to scrape it. So this scraper is like $5 per 1,000 leads, which is awesome. And it's super quick. It's going to take us like, 5 seconds. So let's just wait a little bit. Okay, so I lied. It was not 5 seconds, maybe more. Okay, that was 10 seconds, right? So 769, that's pretty good. I got the leads here. All right, so I have a bunch of data. Okay, so I have now what's my demand. Okay, so these are the demand. Okay, these are the companies that got recently funded 1 to 250, right? Series A and B, C within the VR/AR. All right, so what comes after this? Well, what comes after this is basically like building another list, right? Which is going to be the supply. So I'm simply just going to go again to my Amplify store, right? And then I'm going to use Leads Finder. This is a scraper that's accepted within Connector OS, because it's basically, it has like millions of leads, right? So I'm just going to pick like a sample list of 500. I think I already like built a list before here. Let me see. Oh yeah, I did already. So let me just walk you through them. So I have like marketing and advertising, information technology, management consultant. Exclude any of these, like staffing, all this bullshit, design, publishing, media production, appointment setting, cold email, cold outreach, B2B lead gen, SDR services. I'm simply gonna add like a couple more. Yeah, LinkedIn outreach. Maybe I can just add outreach too. And actually, here's what I'm going to do. Just to make it like a super good list, I'm just going to type in cold email agency in Google. Let's see like what kind of keywords they use. Right? This is something that you guys also can do. So cleverly, I'm also going to check this guy, Nick Abraham. Shout out to you, my friend. Probably like they're doing like a lead bird. Yes, lead bird. Probably doing like 250K lead bird. Let's see what they say. So lead generation. So Do we have lead generation here? Yeah, we don't. Content marketing. I don't think content marketing is good. Nah. They probably don't, nobody cares about content creating when it comes to these companies. These guys worked with Airbnb. God damn. Cold email outreach gets B2B meetings. Oh yeah, B2B meetings. So it's very interesting how I'm like, scraping lead gen agencies. I'm going to connect them. Write emails. Write emails. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical with this. Hyper-personalized cold email. Yeah. Because, if I put write emails, I don't know, I'm just going to get like a bunch of bullshit agencies. Write emails. Email drip campaign, A/B testing, email marketing list. Yeah, list building is good. List building is pretty good. What else? Let's check this one. B2B lead generation agency. B2B lead gen agency. Oh, I was on the exclude keywords. Oh man. Let me just do it again. That's a good learning experience for you guys. I'm gonna add these. Gonna add lead generation. It's gonna be pretty quick. Oh, maybe, can I just bulk edit? Oh yeah, I can. So I'm just gonna copy these. And then delete, set, done. Delete this one. And I'm gonna go to bulk edit. And I'm gonna add these here by just pasting them. Set, done. So exclude these keywords, staffing, paid ads. Yeah, we don't want this. We also don't want consultant. Yeah, I don't want consultant too. B2B lead gen, location, exclude these job titles. We want founder, co-founder, managing partner, head of growth. We also want, let me check. This is Leadbird. What are the people that reply? I know a couple people here from this space. The team. So do they have like any job titles that they define? Oh, SDR, account manager, copywriter. Who replies when it comes who tends to control the deal when it's like a lead gen agency? Oh yeah, I should probably add director of sales. Yeah. Let me check the size. 1 to 10. Yeah, they're probably hungry. 11 to 20, 21 to 50, 1 to 100. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to click save and start. And I'm just going to scrape these. And that's pretty much it. Again, it's going to take me 5 minutes. All right. So let me just close all these tabs right now. And then I'm simply just going to go to ConnectOS. I'm going to plug my API keys, etc. And then I'm just going to click begin matching. If you notice here, I just, tweaked the UI a little bit because I've noticed is that if you guys watched the last video, I had like a couple niches here, but I feel like it's gonna, overwhelm people because my goal for people to use ConnectOS, which are you guys, to basically stop, over analysis. Like this is analysis process. Just begin matching. Pick your market, define market that you want, and ConnectOS is just gonna do everything. So instead of like showing you like, okay, here's Raccoon, here's wealth management, etc. Just put the system will understand this automatically, right? Instead of like you trying to choose it. And also added a couple of things, right? For instance, if once we begin the matching and then we get some matches and we begin enriching, which means finding the contacts on each side, the supply and demand. Sometimes you obviously, enrichment is not gonna get you all the contacts that you need, right? That's how it works, right? For instance, like any enrichment platform like ICP, ICPs, I believe, or like Clay or anything. obviously, like, you're going to get like 50% of the data, right? Not all the time we're going to find emails. So I added like the ability to export the data at CSV, and it's going to solve two problems. The first problem is basically you can export these and use this for like LinkedIn DMs. So you get the matches, right? The whole point is you get the matches, like who needs who right now. You get these and you can essentially just, plug them into LinkedIn DMs, start outreaching for both sides, right? Or like start trying to connect both sides. And the next step is the CSV export is pretty good because now we don't have to deal with like adding like little silly integrations after, because a lot of people were like, hey, can you add like Mailreach? Can you add Smartly? And I'm like, man, that's just, a lot of work for zero ROI. So how about this? We accept Plusvibe and Instantly, which are like the biggest ones right now. I would argue like, yeah, Smartly is also big, but instead of like trying to add little features here, just get your CSV exported and basically do whatever you want with it. Just export it, add it to whatever you want. Mailreach, I don't know, Smartly, and that's it, right? Instead of like, adding little APIs here and there, it is just not optimal. Okay, so I already like ate my limit. Anyways, so I'll just use this 300. I think that's pretty much good enough, right? Anyways, so I'm just gonna go to runs, and I'm gonna go to the Crunchbase here that I have. I'm just gonna copy. I'm just gonna copy the data set right within Crunchbase, and then I'm gonna go to here. I'm gonna go to settings. I'm gonna put the demand here, right? And then I'm simply gonna go back, and then I'm gonna go to the last scrape, and I'm gonna copy and paste it here, save. And I'm also going to add my Epify token, which is an API integration. Just copy it and then go back, and then paste it here, save. All right, let me go back to sending. I need a domain campaign, a supply campaign, and Instantly API. So simply just go to Instantly and then log in. Already have 2 campaigns. Let me just check if there's any leads here. No leads. All right, so I'm just going to copy this, like this, and then supply, done. And then go to demand. Let me check. Nothing. Copy. Paste. Again, I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm just going to authenticate, which means add my API key. Create an API key. I'm just going to name this the Magician. Market Bender. Copy, paste. So, and then paste it here. Again, I'm going to go to Azure. I'm just going to add my Azure key. So whatever API key you want to use, whether it's like Claude, OpenAI, and you also can use like whatever you want, like HackQ or OpenAI, etc. We accept everything, right? GPT-4o, copy the key. And one more thing I'm just going to add. Let me check if there's the actual, yeah. So for the endpoints, for people that are using Azure, you only want to add this, okay? Don't add the entire endpoints because you can add GPT-4o like this, right? So save. One more thing that I forgot to add, which is in the data, I need, actually, let me see. Is there anything I forgot? Yeah, Apollo. Yeah. So I'm going to use Apollo. You're going to need Apollo to find the decision makers because some scrapers do not include decision makers. The leads finder actually, it has the emails. So Magician. So we're just going to verify it, right? But for the people, for the other data sets, Crunchbase, obviously there's no email. So we have to enrich them, whether it's Apollo or like an email finder. So I'm simply going to add this here. I'm also going to add an email finder as a fallback, right? Go to app, API, copy my API key. Probably going to have to rotate it after this. The reason why I'm using an email finder Apollo is because I can use Connectro Agent, but I'm doing this video to show you guys what would you do, right? I can, use my own, but it's not going to make sense, right? I have Connectro Agent, which is basically our in-house email finder and verifier, which is this one. It has, the verify, the bulk, and also the integrate, okay, which is how to do it in Make, Zapier, or whatever. And also in the bulk, I have the ability to add like CSV or like Google Sheets. But yeah, I'm not going to do it just because I want you guys to continue with me. So you see now the button is actually, you can begin matching, because you will not begin matching until you add all your API keys, right? Because that's how it works. So let's begin matching. Load in supply and demand. Let's see how many matches do we actually get. So it's going to rank between good, great, and also exploratory. Let's see. So we got 765 that are exploratory. Not so good, not like a great match, to be honest. So matches we have, 765. So these are like the strong ones. So we don't have like any strong matches, and we don't have good matches. We have, okay matches, which makes sense, right? Because, ConnectOS cannot lie to you, right? Obviously, if there's no like signals between supply and demand, it's not going to lie to you, right? So we have companies that need help. They just raised seed. So they need a provider. Okay, so Craftworks. What is Craftworks? So what do they do? So activate their sales methodologies, grow leadership capabilities, and build team-based learn fast. So what do we do? Coach and certify leaders to coach, teach, and model performance behaviors. Sales capacity, so bridge the gap between theory and execution by turning your sales model into consistent practical behaviors. So in a weird way, it's not really like a lead gen agency, but it does help them with sales, right? But it's still a good match. And one more thing, if you noticed there, exploratory matches are normal. Send-in teaches the system, right? So it's still pretty good, right? If you notice here, demand is Crunchbase organizations, contains companies, names. Missing is roles and emails. B2B contacts, which is the one that we used, contains companies and names, roles, emails, and missing nothing, just complete data. We're just gonna have to verify it. So I'm gonna show you guys that even with like exploratory, matches, we're still gonna get replies, because usually when ConnectOS flags something as good, it means it's actually like, they need help like yesterday. If it's strong, it means you can literally just, send them a message now, both of them, supply and demand, and they will reply. It's guaranteed to reply, right? Because it scores based on a bunch of things, right? In the back end. So I'm simply just going to find emails for 765 companies. You will notice that my email finder credits are getting used, right? So 903, right? 901, etc. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit, right? And at the end, I'm gonna show you guys I like to call this the money voice, right? You will see how the matches are created, and basically how each copy is gonna be for supply and also demand. Pure connection magic, right? So I'm just gonna get back to you guys once this is finished. I'm just gonna let it finish, right? And maybe look at the sky. There's like a beautiful like sea here in Cyprus. If you guys don't know, I live in Cyprus, specifically Limassol, right? So if anyone is there, if you guys want to do, you want to go to a coffee or something, just let me know, right? So yeah. All right, guys. So while this is enriching the contacts for me, as you can see, 89, I wanted to share with you guys something that I shared with an investor that proposed $1 million to invest in like ConnectOS, right? This is something that I put up, and I basically just hopped on a call with him. He's a founder that exited with a SaaS company, actually very known, and he DM'd me on LinkedIn, right? And he was like, yeah, I like what you're doing with like ConnectOS. I think it's going to be, the next thing, because, Clay gives you data, enriches. Apollo gives you the contacts, but no platform, on planet Earth actually matches supply and demand, which is like this new freaking idea that I used to do manually, but now we have like a productized service for it. It's free, obviously, ConnectOS. And he proposed for me to make it paid. I'm not going to do it, right? I'm not going to do it because the whole point of building it is to help you guys do the same thing and also print money, and also kind of birth the new generation of connectors, right? And, just stop this, this legion rabbit hole where you essentially just don't deliver a service, right? This is I've done this like my whole life, where I basically just connect two people, right? That's the whole thing. But this is something that I wanted to kind of like share with you guys, because this is what I showed them on a call. It was like a Zoom call. It was like an hour. This explains kind of like how ConnectOS scores, right? It's called like a match intelligence scoring. It's not AI, right? It's not AI, because AI will fuck up most of the time when it comes to like, does this X company needs this X company right now? So we have a couple of things. We have the weighted scoring components. It has this is a component, this is the weight, and this is a max score. So we'll have a need and capability alignment. The core intelligence is demand needs match the supply capability. So with a match, where like the max score is 25, we scored it as 25. If there's like a signal relevance, right, which means time and strength in recency, we add like a 6%, right? If we add an industry match, which means the sector and vertical alignment, which means these people are like an industry that, it's universally or like economically, everybody knows they need each other. For instance, recruitment, IT recruitment with like this places candidates, right? Whether it's like software engineers, software developers, with like a company that's hiring exactly software developers, etc. So we give it another 4.5. Size, compatibility, which means the company scale and deal size fits, which means if it's a company is like 11 to 50, the other company is like 11 to 50, we can add them like 2.5 score. Base score, right? Which is 10%, which is the minimum rounding threshold, which is 1. Okay. So the maximum achievable score is 38. Okay. I would say this is like a good fit. So the most important then is the core intelligence, which means the need match to supply capability. All right. So at the end, you get like 38% or like 38.5 when it comes to the score. The current batch performance, the average score that you guys gonna get, depending on your data set, is 23 to 25, which means it's still pretty good. The quality index of achievable max is you get like 60 to 65%. Now, this is dependent on your data set that you're gonna plug either from Crunchbase, right? This is dependent on your judgment, okay? Whether like what kind of supply and demand meets each other right now, and ConnectOS is just going to give you the truth, which is basically like what kind of like what I teach, okay, within SSM, which is basically how like actually like before you even connect someone, you kind of like need to look at the market, right? And it's super important, right? Because everybody knows what funding is, but nobody knows, or very little people know what funding actually produces, right? Like what kind of the things is it, like board pressure, etc. So it's like the thinking behind it, okay? And then we have the active matches at the end. For example, we have like 765. So the match is 765. Intros sent, let's say you send 1,500 intros, you get like maybe like 20 to 40, 46 replies. You get like 2 to 5 deals out of that. Projected, money you're going to be making is 20K all the way to 250K, depending on the quality of the matches. Right? So projected revenue for batch, 10K, which is, pretty normal as a connector. So from 10K all the way to 50K. So it's, it's a money making, platform. It's not, this bullshit. But anyways, let me go back and see. So we saw in 106. It's going to take a little while because obviously we're finding decision makers. We're creating Apollo and also an email finder. So the way it works is that we're trying to find people if they exist first on Apollo. If they don't, well, we're just going to try an email finder, and then we're just going to look at their job description and see if the person actually exists within the company, right? And one thing, just a sanity check for you guys, if someone finds an email or like a person within ConnectOS, it gets stored into our cache, which means you don't need to pay for it, right? Which is pretty good, right? Instead of like, trying to charge someone from their API tokens that are using Apollo or an email finder, why charge them? Like, why freaking charge them if we can store it, right? So if someone finds an email, why charge you for that found email found by someone else, right? So we just store it into a table. And another thing is that we're not just going to store it. We're going to have to verify it. So once you plug your email finder, it's not going to, take the credits when it comes to finding the contacts or emails or whatever. It's just going to verify to check if it's still valid, obviously. So that's kind of like the thinking behind it. Hopefully you guys, like these little breakdowns, behind the scenes, etc. But yeah, I'm just going to get back to you once we are done at 765. All right, so enrichment is done, right? So that's good. We found 475 emails, right? And 219 need LinkedIn, which means that you can use it for your LinkedIn DMs. So 290 matches didn't list public email. So I'm just gonna click on generate intros, and I'm gonna generate intros for all these ones, right? So 475. Okay, which is awesome. The intros are going to be extremely high quality, and you will notice, okay? It's going to be, hey person, figured I'd reach out. I saw something that you've done, maybe you raised funding, maybe, I don't know, any signal, hiring, whatever, expansion, etc. X person handles exactly what you're doing and can help. I have a couple, providers parked. Notice the language, right? This is pure money language, pure connector language. This is straight out of my $2 million a year connector business, which means it follows like a simple pattern. Let me explain, right? Let me just pull up like a Google Doc. This is what I mean. Like, this is like a win-in, I like to call it the money voice, which means, hey, X, right? Let me use my favorite font, which is going to be Geese, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So, hey, for example, viewer, right? Noticed signal, which means anything, right? Recently funded. Notice you guys like recently got funded. Notice you guys are hiring for X, Y, and Z. Notice signal. Guessing you need X or whatever the provider, is gonna help them with. Obviously from the correct match. Notice signal, guessing you need X. I can connect you to provider from match that can help with X. Name or first name, their first name. And I can say, and the copy is going to be like, got a couple more people similar to, this guy or not this guy, well, these providers, right? Similar to supply. Let's call it supply, right? So I can connect you to supply. I think it's way better. Yeah, to supply, first name. Got a couple more people similar to supply, parked. You choose, we pick the winner, right? So this is connection leverage, right? And worth connection you, whatever, right? And this is for the demand. And then for the supply, it's going to be, hey X or hey viewer for you guys. So you guys can, kind of like engage. Hey viewer, X demand full description, the size, whatever, has size, company size, team, signal, etc. Needs help with what the supply provides, right? Obviously, from the matches, right? What the supply provides, pretty sure you can deliver. So this is kind of like my leverage. When I say, yeah, you're pretty sure you can deliver. Obviously, any company within the supply is gonna be like, yeah, of course we can deliver. Just give us the clients, right? And obviously, like I'm just connecting people. I'm not like, delivering anything, right? So pretty sure you can deliver. Worth connecting you. And this gets sent to both demand and supply, and that's how you get paid by both supply and demand, because you hold the gates. Without you, they cannot get connected. You are the access point, right? You are the access point. Just like this, right? You are the golden access point, right? Between demand. That is an ugly color. And supply. Let's give it a orange. So that's how it works, right? So let's just go here and then let's wait for a little bit. And then I'm going to get back to you guys once we finish the intros, right? All right. So 370 intros generated out of 475. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys, which is going to blow your mind, which is the fulfillment mode. Okay. If you go to ConnectOS right now, I'm going to walk you through this after we finish generating the intros. It's something called the fulfillment mode. Okay. And let me just walk you through it in this Google Doc, and then I'm going to walk you through this little graph here. Okay. So the workflow right now for you, this is for people that are running campaigns and it's completely free, is let's say you close a supply partner. Okay. Let's say you close like a recruitment agency, or maybe you guys are working with someone. Maybe, I don't know, you work with like a PPC, anyone you're delivering meetings right now for. Okay. It could be anything. Maybe like a recruitment agency. What you want to do is basically just upload one row. For example, we'd have like one row in like a Google Sheets that has the name of your clients, okay, their website, their offer, etc., everything that they do. If you guys don't know, I've recorded hundreds of videos of me fulfilling, basically helping members that just closed $5, $6, $7, $8,000 deals, and I basically just handhold them in terms of like the fulfillment, etc. So you would have like your onboarding, right? You guys already know. Whenever you close a new client, you get them through the onboarding, or usually within that onboarding, they have to fill out a form where they just put all their information, their ICP, their offer, their case studies, whatever. Okay, so you'd have this in like a Google Sheets, right? And then you upload it as supply, just the partner's info. You know, it's a supply, okay? And then you load the demand data set, whether it's CSV or Epify, okay? So let me just go to OS. You have the ability to add CSV, okay? So you can upload. Okay, boom, done, all right? So let me go back. So you either like use Epify, okay, to scrape the demand for your clients, right? Depend on you know, your fulfillment plan, right? And the system is going to match all demand to one supply partner, which is your clients, okay? It's going to generate the intros and pitch your partner to every matching demand company. Okay, so the math is 500 demand signals, for example. X, one supply partner is going to be 500 intros. So all go into the demand side saying, hey, demand, I know someone who can help with their signal, okay? So this solves the, I just signed an agency now, or a client. Now I need to find them clients, right? I have a provider. Where's the demand, right? Or like the fulfillment / activation for new like supply partners. So inverse also works, right? Inverse also works. So you upload one row demand, okay, a company you're helping, and you load a supply data set, and the ConnectOS is going to match supply to that demand and find providers for your clients, which is basically connection model. You work both directions dependent on who you close first. Okay, so this is like a little, you know, graph here that I have, which is the fulfillment mode. So close one partner, activate it with hundreds. Upload a single supply partner, match them to hundreds of demand signals, and generate personalized intros at scale. You got a supply, demand, etc. And this is basically how you see it live. Okay, watch one row CSV turn into hundreds of personalized intros in under 60 seconds. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so we're almost done. But yeah, it's gonna help you guys a ton. And obviously, ConnectOS is free, right? Which is insane. All right, we're ready. 475 intros ready. You guys see this DM here? This is where you essentially just export. You get it in your DMs. You can just download, right? And you can essentially just click on send, which is what I'm going to do. Let me just click on send, okay? So I'm going to send to Instantly right now. So let me just go to Instantly right now and show you guys the intros. All right, let's check this out. Let me just copy it. Hey Yoav, notice Zook is showing activity and augmented reality for education. Ended up diving into your e-learning experiences. Really engaging and innovative approach to interactive learning. Would you be open to connecting with Craig at Craftworks? He writes and consults with small teams on leveraging their AR capabilities to expand education partnerships and e-learning offerings. Got a few others in that zone if useful. You pick, we just keep the winner. Worth a chat? So this is exactly the connection model. I'm literally mentioning the exact person, Greg, at Craftworks, which is insane. Okay. Previously, you would have to do this manually, right? And I wouldn't even say like many people don't even know this thing actually exists, right? So, so we're sending to instantly, obviously, for both supply and demand, right? Which is awesome. What I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to add personalization here, and I'm done. For the subject line, I'm going to say, hey, I'm just going to say intro with a dot. And I'm not even going to send any steps just because I know this campaign is just going to crush it. Okay. I'm not even going to add any steps, no follow-ups, none of that. Right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy, go back to supply, paste this here, intro. Okay. I'm going to go to resume campaign and let me check. Okay. So it's 7. Okay. So 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Just gonna use a couple of my inboxes. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all. I think so. Should I add more? Yeah, I'll add more. Done. Save. Again, and then same thing. 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. for Monday to Saturday. Still gonna use the same ones. And then save. Awesome. So we are live officially, right? Obviously, Connector is going to keep sending to instantly, basically adding all our contacts to instantly. So that's pretty much it, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Did I forget anything? No, I didn't. So now the only thing I have to do is just wait a little bit. I'm going to get back to you guys once we generate some matches, just like a connector, right? All right, favorite part of this whole thing, right? Going into the Unibox and checking everything. So this guy said, wow, thanks for reaching out. This was actually a thoughtful message. Yeah, would love to connect. Thank you. Let me check the first initial message that I sent him. This is pure connectual language, right? Check this out. I want you guys to really pay attention to this. Hey, Craig, Render That is a 3D technology and AI company. 100 to 1 to 250 people. Check the personalization here. Focused on assets management, augmented reality, and digital media. David, the CEO, is probably reflecting on challenges or thinking about scaling creative tech and SaaS processes. They're in the phase where they might need outside perspective on scaling or facing early growth hurdles. Pretty sure it'll be helpful to connect. Let me know. This is, you notice there's no pitch. This is the money language, right? As a connector, as you basically just mention even like the other person, right? Which is pretty wild if you think about it, right? Interesting. Thanks for reaching out. It was actually a thoughtful message. Yeah, I would love to connect. Thank you. So at this point, I can essentially just make the intro, make it free. And now I have like leverage, or I do the next thing, which is, hey, let me just get on a call with you guys first. Both of you, right? I would basically just fit both of them, and they cannot get connected until I say so, right? Which is like the leverage as a connector, right? And like, since this guy's like literally interested, you have the power, right, to charge up front for both sides even, right? Which is what I do, right? But yeah, this is like the favorite part. Fun fact, let me give you guys a story. I was on a date one day and I received this message from this guy. It was like a biotech company, recently got funded. They probably got funded, I believe it was maybe like 50 or 100 million or something. and I had to like cut it short. I was like, hey, excuse me, you have to excuse me. I have to go because the guy said, hey, yes, I want to talk now. Would you be interested? Yeah, just call me. And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then I had to cut it short. And then I just, called him, and then rest was history. I'm not working with them, now. I had to offboard them 6 or 7 months ago. But yeah, very interesting. So that's like a little story for you guys. Let's check the next one. Chan or Zan or something. Honestly, this is a newer angle for us and not something we get reached out about often. Do you provide referrals? We're thinking about how AI fits into our workflows as we scale, so I'm open to learning more. Thanks. Let's check their website. Interesting. So, no code platforms we work with. They work with Bubble, Webflow, High Level. They have a good testimonials. Drive Phase Consultant. Interesting. Let's check out the next one. Josh from Riples. We're still early on the enterprise side and figuring things out as we go. But the question whether this is paid or not, pretty typical. You're gonna get a couple replies like this, right? Because people are gonna be like, "Whoa, is this paid?" Because here's my copy that I sent. Hey Joshua, noticed Ripples has been showing activity lately and ended up diving into your patented Interlife platform. Really innovative approach to connecting geospatial and AR layers. I don't even know what that is. Might be worth chatting with Greg from Craft Works. So this is Greg. He writes and consults with teams on scaling enterprise-level integrations by sharing learnings from his own journey of trial and iteration. Got a few others in that zone. If useful, you pick. We just keep the winner with the chat. Interesting. What do they do? Is this the guy? Oh, it is a guy. Can you guys see this? People? Okay, here's the guy. So this is the guy, Josh. And this is the Ripples.
Imagine a world where drones and flying taxis fill the skies and autonomous cars glide through traffic. Delivery robots crisscrossing the...
This is a drone, like a DJI Mavic? Interesting. Anyways. All right, let's check the last one. Saad, I'm definitely open to a chat. Happy to take a look at Zan or Zan, and hear more about this. Surely this is quite the email. Part of me wants to say this is automated, but I'd surely take the bait. What's the next step, Scott? Interesting. 3 Space Lab. Oh, so it was the actual ICP. It was VR and AR. But what is this? Bridging the present and future real estate. Investor login. Okay, our solution allows for worldwide access to virtual spaces, giving stakeholders the freedom to explore future developments on demand. So it's sort of like when someone wants to buy something, maybe, and they give them like a VR. This is some weird niches. Like when you like actually like go into the markets, you find some hidden niches you don't even know about, right? Like think about it. Who thinks about VR and AR for real estate? You can't really think your way into this, right? For some people, like, what is a hidden niche, right? Well, the only way to get a hidden niche is by literally just getting into the market, and that's how you find these hidden niches. You can't just think, okay, I need to find a hidden niche, right? You just do the work and you get into the market, and that's how you find hidden niches, and that's how you print, right? You can't just do market research. Market research is basically analysis paralysis. People try to do it just because, they're afraid of taking action, to be honest. That's just the truth. But yeah, interesting. it just gets to show you guys that, you know, there's just ConnectOS is just, that's like the future, right? By the way, this is something that I added, just, you know, just a little thing for you guys. This is, like I said, this is like the fulfillment mode. I just added like this little thing here, which means if you guys are working with like a, you know, like clients, you can essentially just upload here the CSV, right? As a supply, right? And then you just go ahead and put your demand data set here, right? Which means all the demand is going to be matched to your supplier, which is interesting, right? It's pretty good. It's very, very good when it comes to you guys' fulfillment. But yeah, it gets to show you guys that you should, you know, be doing the same thing too, right? This is pure connector, you know, pure connector language, pure connector business model live in front of you, so you can see the actual replies and literally me doing it from start to finish, right? So that's very, very interesting. One more thing that I wanted to share with you guys is this railway thing that I implemented. So right now, like the backend that I have for Connector Agents, which is like an email verifier and finder that we have, it accepts, you know, thousands of people at the same time. For instance, let me show you. Let me go to this one. Can you see this? Like, this is all people that are trying to find emails. So winner, find. And you see this little emoji that I added? It's like really, this is good code. For like any software developer that is watching this, there's something within like the engineering thing, which is called cowboy code. Cowboy code is basically when like an engineer just is super lazy and they just, you know, they don't have like clean logs, they don't have like clean, you know, error handling, etc. And this is what I like to call like not cowboy code, which means like it's super clean, etc. You have like all the steps. You got like step 1, parallel permutation engine, racing 5 patterns, and then etc. etc. You know, it's pretty good, right? But yeah, it's so interesting that you guys can see this too, because I can see it live. Like I can see people like, you know, verifying and finding emails, which is interesting, right? I've never had this before. But yeah, hopefully you guys found value in this video. I believe it's going to be a pretty long video. But yeah, like I said, hopefully you had some value, right? And just like I always say, you know, get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.